If you are a professional or a student working on some project, but you are dealing with some data or working on some data, it's always good to understand some of the important statistical terms that are most frequently used to extract some important insights from the data. Hello all, in this tutorial we are going to learn about those important and most frequently used statistical terms. So let's get started straight away. And the best tool for understanding and learning about these statistical terms is Excel. No doubt about it. Let's get started. Now, we are going to learn about things like the mean, median, variance, standard deviation, first quartile, third quartile, range, to name a few. So, for that, let's get started by creating some random numbers. And to create random numbers in Excel, we can do that using the rand between function. RAND between. And if I want to create random numbers between 1 and 100, this is how it can be done in Excel. And let me try to create some 20 random numbers. All right. So I have 20 random numbers, or let me have 21 random numbers just to have an even set of numbers. Now, since I have formula, if I try to make certain changes in the other cells, these numbers will keep changing. So let me do a value paste. And to do that, I just have to do a control C, paste special, and I have to do values. Yeah, now we just have values here, and all these numbers are ranging between 1 and 100. The first important thing that we're trying to extract from these set of numbers is to see what is the average of all these numbers. Okay, so to get the average or mean that we commonly use in data science, the terminology, to calculate the average or the mean, we use the formula AVERAGE, average, in Excel, and select all these cells here and click on the enter button. So the average seems to be 39.61. So let me just name it as average or mean. And what are the few other things that we are trying to extract from this data? We are trying to extract median, mode, variance, standard deviation. We'll also be extracting the first quartile and the third quartile. All right. Now we have these numbers here. To understand how do we extract median, now mean is nothing but when we take all these numbers, sum it and divide it by the total numbers, we get the mean. Which means if we just do a sum of all these numbers and divide it by, I have 21 numbers here. So I can either just type 21 or I can just use the count function here. And once again select all these numbers. It will count automatically how many numbers are there between A1 to A21. If I click on the enter button, I get the same number as we have here. So this is how the average or the mean is calculated. Now to calculate the median, what we have to do here is we have to select all these numbers and then sort them in a particular order. So it could be smallest to largest or largest to smallest. Let me keep it to default, which is smallest to largest. So once I do that, whichever is the middle number in this particular series. So here 37 is the middle number because there are 10 numbers above and 10 numbers below. So 37 is the middle number, which is ideally supposed to be the median. So if I have to calculate that in Excel, median, and then if I select this entire range all over again, click on the enter button, it gives me 37, which is nothing but this number in the center. So let me just color mark it as yellow. Now, what is the purpose of median? I shall come to that in just a bit after I explain about all the other terms that we can calculate here. Now, what is mode? To understand what is mode, sometimes in our data set, we might have certain numbers which are getting repeated more than once. It could be repeated twice, thrice, four times, etc. But any number that gets repeated the most number of times, that number is the mode in the data set. So here if we see 30 is getting repeated twice, 41 is also getting repeated twice. and 83 is also getting repeated twice. So this data set does not just have one mode, it has multiple modes. So if you have to calculate multiple modes, what we can do is, now I might not know how many modes are there in this data set. So if I select some 4 or 5 lines here, and then if I type the formula mod, and we also have an option here mode mult. So if I select this, it returns a vertical array of the most frequently occurring or repetitive values in an array or range of data. So if I just select this and once again select this entire array, I cannot click on the enter button. I need to click on Control Shift and then enter it. Only then it will capture the other elements as well. These are not making sense because what it actually means here is, in this data set we just have 3 numbers that have the same number of repetitions. That's why we have 3 modes here. 30 is one of them, 41 and 83. That's how we calculate if there are multiple modes in a data set. So if I don't do like this, and if I just do a mode and I select multi-mode here and select all these numbers, then it would just give me the first element, which is 30 here. Okay, let me make some changes here. Let me add a few repetitions. Let me say 81 is getting repeated, or maybe let's say 83 is getting repeated 3 times. All right. So now what we want to do is, if I select the mode function here, even if I select multi or single and select all these numbers, it would give me the mode as 83. So by any chance, if any number gets repeated most number of times, that would be the mode. So here 83 becomes the mode. But yeah, if there are multiple, then we have to use the other techniques that I just explained a couple of minutes back. All right, so that was about mode. Now, before going to variance, standard deviation, let me just explain upon what does median mean and what does mode actually mean, or when it is exactly used. Now, median is 37. So what is the benefit of having median? Why can't we just use average here, which is 39? So they are sort of closer to one another. Mode is just the number that is getting repeated most number of times. So it is far away from these two numbers. But at least mean and median are very close to one another. So why is it that sometimes we use median, or in fact, not sometimes, most of the times during any exploratory data analysis or any analysis for that matter, why is it that most of us prefer using median? The reason being, supposing if I try to change some extreme values here, let me try to change some numbers here. Let me put a bigger number here. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I click on enter button. If you see here, the average has increased drastically, but the median still remains the same. And here also, supposing if I put another extreme value, I can even put somewhere over here, minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click on the enter button. The average is enormous. The average is huge now. It's in 5,000s. And the median is still 37. So what is the benefit of having median here? These two numbers appear to be more like outliers, because most of the numbers that we have here fall in the range 1 to 100. So these are anyway beyond that range. Hence, these are outliers which we should treat and try to get some insights out of it. Because most of our analysis, or in most of our machine learning models, if we have these outliers, it would give us some wrong results. So that's why most of us prefer using median. When we have some weird looking data, when we have some outliers in the data, we try to remove it. But if supposing due to certain reasons we cannot remove the outliers, median helps us in correctly displaying what is the middle value in this entire range of data. Okay, now let's talk about mode here. When is mode normally used? Mode is mostly used for categorical data. For example, if you have a data set of the employees in a company, employee A is in finance department, employee B is in marketing department, employee C is in IT, employee D is in finance. So like that, we have the entire list of employees and the departments. So whichever department has the most number of employees, so that department would be projected as the mode. For example, if marketing department had 20 employees, and finance had say 18 employees, and IT had 25 employees, and HR had say 10 employees. So in this case, marketing, since it has 20 employees, would become the mode of that particular data set. Similarly, here we see that 83 is getting repeated most number of times. Hence, we have mode as 83. Okay, now let's come to variance. What is variance? Or how do we calculate variance first of all? To calculate variance, let me just insert another column here. Numbers difference from mean. Okay, so here we are going to find the difference of each of these numbers from the mean. What is the mean? Mean is nothing but the average here, right? And now, just to ensure that this number, let me just put a normal number here. This looks wayward. So 26. And let me change this to 57. All right, now we have a decent looking average. And if I want to subtract average from all these records, so in Excel what we can do is, for this Fi, if I just click on F4, or in some laptops you might have to press function F4, so that the dollar signs appear before F and before phi. Now what this indicates is, now if I just copy this, so even the next numbers, even for the next cells, we have F5, the same cell gets copied. A3 keeps changing. So A3, now if you go to the next line, it is A4, A5, A6, but F5 remains the same. So that's how we can keep that constant, the average. Now let me just copy the whole thing, and let me change the decimal numbers. It looks a little confusing here. So I just have two decimals now. So this is the difference from the mean. Each of these number, how much is it away from the mean? That's what this particular column says. And now we are going to square this. So we're saying difference from mean, and you're doing a square. All right. So I select the number and square it. So similarly, I copy this formula for all the lines. And once again, let me just have two decimal places. Okay, so once I have squared this, now if I have to find the variance, variance is nothing but when you take the sum of all these numbers and divide it by the total numbers. So if I do a sum, click on enter, I have 11367.24. And now if I divide it by, since I have 22 numbers, let me just type 22 here. So I have 516 as the variance. Okay, let me use the formula here for variance. Now here, if you see, variance has got VARP and VARS. So VAR.P indicates is the entire population. So what does entire population mean? Now if this data set is our entire population, and we are trying to calculate the variance of this entire population, then if we select this entire population here, so let me just do a VAR.P, select this, and I select all these values here, click on the enter button, I get 541.29 as a variance. It is different from this number because I took 22 here. It should actually be 21 because there are only 21 records. The first record is actually a header. So if I go for a few more decimals, the numbers are matching. That's how we calculate variance. However, on most occasions, our data set would be enormous. So we would actually be calculating the variance of the sample. So what does sample mean? If this is our data set, and if you're just taking certain numbers here, just taking certain rows of this data set, then that would actually be the sample of this entire population. We shall be covering in detail about what does a sample mean and what does a population mean in another tutorial where we'll be focusing specifically on statistics. So variance is 541.2971. Now, if I were to calculate the variance for a sample, so I would use the formula var dot s, and again, if I select all these numbers here and click on the enter button, it gives me 568.36. So what is the difference between this variance and this variance? Well, the difference is just in the terms of count. So if I do a sum of all these numbers all over again and divide by, instead of, there are 21 numbers here, right? So 2 to 22, which is actually 21 numbers if we ignore the heading. So 21 numbers. Instead of 21, I do an n minus 1. N here is 21. So I do an n minus 1, which is 20. So it is like 21 minus 1. Let me keep it this way. Once I click on the enter button, I get 568.3619. This is exactly how a sample variance is calculated in statistics. Standard deviation, well, if you just take a square root of this number, that would be the standard deviation. And this would be for the population, and this would be for the sample. So here, if I once again do a square root of the number above, that would be the standard deviation. So we can do that here as well. If I have to find the standard deviation here, all that I have to do is, so STD population, this is the number for which I'm trying to find the standard deviation. Considering that this is the population, this would be my standard deviation, 23.2657, 23.2657. Similarly here, if I do a standard deviation for the sample, which is dot S, and then once again I select all these numbers for which I'm trying to find the standard deviation of this sample, it would be 23.84. So this is how we calculate the standard deviation. So what does standard deviation mean? Standard deviation, it's just trying to tell us how varied is our population. Now variance, because we are taking the square and then trying to get the average, the numbers when we take the variance is not in the same order as we have the actual numbers here. But the moment we take the square root of the variance, which is the standard deviation, then we have the almost in similar units. Whatever numbers we have here is in similar units to what we have our actual numbers. So standard deviation says that the lower the standard deviation is, the more close these numbers are to one another. And the bigger the standard deviation, the further apart these numbers are from one another. So since we have all these numbers from 1 to somewhere close to 100, that is why the standard deviation is on the higher side. Now if I try to change all these numbers to say 23, let me just, for the sake of example, let me copy all of them to 23. Now when I copy all of them to 23, you see that the average, median, mode all are the same, but the variance, there is absolutely no variance in the data. So the standard deviation is also 0, because when you find the difference from the mean, everything is the same. And now if I try to change the number slightly, when I change the number slightly, there is a small variance here, and the standard deviation also marginally. So now if I start changing the numbers bit by bit, you'll see that the variance starts increasing. So if I increase it now a little on the higher side, the variance suddenly starts increasing. But the median, not too much of change in the median. Average also starts increasing. I put another higher number here now, 123. So the variance has now become super high. What was it earlier? 22, and this was 4.6. And now after I've made that big change, 22 becomes 465. If I add another number here, say instead of 23, I put 230. And just look at how these numbers change drastically. 2294. But the median is still remaining constant, because median is not impacted by the outliers. But here, so when we see the variance is increasing, all that we're saying is these numbers are not as closely aligned to one another. The numbers, there is a big variance coming up. That's what we indicate here by variance, and also by standard deviation. Standard deviation is in actually the same units as the original data set. All right, let me again try to put some random numbers so that we are able to also calculate the first quartile and the third quartile. Let me just copy all these numbers and sort them in a proper order. Continue the current selection, smallest to largest. Yeah. Now we have from smallest to largest, and the median is 48. Let me color mark it again. Okay, now to find the first quartile. Now before that, let me again explain. To calculate the median, what we did was we sorted all these numbers in a particular order, and whatever number was in the exact center of that array, that was the median. In the case of first quartile, what we have to do is from the very first number in this very sorted list, from the very first number to the median, we have to find the number which is exactly in the middle. So if I just do a quartile, and in this, if I select that entire array, and here I have to mention first quartile, so 1. If I just mention 1 here, which is 25th percentile, it says 23. So from all these numbers that we have 11 numbers. So the sixth number would be the middle number. So sixth number, as in, since it's starting from 2, so it will be the seventh number, 23. This number is the first quartile. So effectively, the smallest number to the median, whatever is in between, is called the first quartile. Similarly, from the median to the largest number, whatever number we have in the middle, that is going to be the third quartile. Let's try that out. If I just type quartile, and while selecting the array, I have to select the entire array. And here, if I just type 3 and click on the enter button, it says 64. So 64 is the middle of the numbers from 48 to 78, and that's why that is called the third quartile. Now, there's another thing that might be of interest to some of them, which is the range. Now, range is nothing but the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value. So if I have to calculate the range, it will be max of this series minus min of the same series. So it is 76. 78 minus 2. This is the range. In whatever analysis we do, we would not be doing it without these terms. At least one or two of them would definitely be used on a regular basis in any analysis that we do. So that is what I wanted to cover in this tutorial. Of course, this was not a statistics tutorial, because I'll be covering some data frame operations where we'll try to analyze some of the columns or some of the variables in the data set, where we'll try to extract mean or median or the mode. That is why I wanted to cover this tutorial, so that you at least have a good understanding of what each of these terms indicate. So if you find this tutorial useful and I've been able to explain all these terms really well, do give a thumbs up. That will be encouraging for me. And if you have any doubts, questions, feedback, suggestions, please do post them in the comment section. See you in the next tutorial. Thank you very much.